You are one of my favorite players, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. I said it on purpose. I want you to hear it. What do you have to say about that?
All right. That's it. That's it. I mean,
I want you to hear it.
I've been hearing, Shaq, I've been hearing that since my rookie year. I'm just going to get better and do what I do.
Donovan Mitchell loves his haters. The people who said he'd struggle in high school, who said he wouldn't play at Louisville, who said he'd never get drafted. Add the Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal to the list of people now fueling the Utah Jazz All-Star guard. After Mitchell scored a game-high 36 points to help his team win its 7th straight game, the TNT analyst O'Neal used his post-game interview with Mitchell to take a shot at the Jazz man, questioning whether he had what it takes to be a superstar. And if I want to be frank, I believe he does have what it takes to be a superstar. No team is playing better basketball than the Utah Jazz right now. And I mean, the Utah Jazz are beating teams by an average of 15.7 points per game during this streak. A big reason why the Utah is blowing teams out is the play of All-Star guard Donovan Mitchell, who may be on the verge of entering the MVP conversation this season. If we look at the Jazz offense, it takes a huge step forward this season with basically the same personnel. Over the course of the win streak, Utah is averaging 116.6 points per game while shooting 44.3% from beyond the arc. The only team higher is the Los Angeles Clippers, though they have a lower plus-minus than the Utah Jazz. In the same stretch of games, Mitchell is averaging 27.9 points on an absolutely insane shooting splits of 51.1% from the floor, 51.8% from three-point range, and 91.4% from the free throw line. Wow. Mitchell's averages are slowly starting to creep up after he started the season, scoring around under 21 points per contest. He's just inside the top 20 among scorers in the league and is the best player on the team playing the best basketball right now. Mitchell can and does change nearly every game with his scoring, as he did against the Pelicans with 36 points on 11 for 9 shooting, including 6 for 8 from 3. He also controls the pace, which is a new element of his game. The guard rarely gets sped up in his 4th season and knows how to use that pace to set tone for a game, as he did in the tune of 13 first quarter points for 5 for 6 shooting in the game against the Pelicans with the same roster. And it won't happen on every night, but it's more common than it used to be. Additionally, Mitchell's leadership is inarguably one of his strongest traits, and maybe his most consistent offering over the 4 seasons in Utah. The Jazz guard led a team to the playoffs in his rookie season after losing all-star forward Gordon Hayward to the Boston Celtics, with no compensation in return. He did it 2 more times in the following season with 2 series wins to boot. Off the floor, he's been even more impactful. Mitchell radically, and cannot be overstated, radically changed the culture of the Jazz after his arrival. From the overall locker room enthusiasm to making Utah a destination to sign for free agents, to handling off-the-floor issues with teammates while being a voice for minorities in an overwhelmingly white community, Mitchell has led the organization to places very few players in the history of the NBA could have. It exists on the court as Mitchell is one of the NBA's most prolific fourth-quarter scorers, but his off-the-court impact is the type of leadership every city hopes to find in their professional franchise, and he does it as well as anyone. Mitchell's explosion in the playoffs at the Orlando bubble felt like a coming-of-age story where Donovan left the prospect with high potential crowd and entered the elite club. But that run was short-lived, 7 games, and for all the spectacular moments like the 2020 playoffs we've seen from Mitchell in just 3 years, it's clear he's still outside the upper top 5 to 10 echelon of players in the NBA. In ESPN's preseason top 100 ranking of NBA players, Mitchell came in at 18th, and for all that hate that list got, and it probably did deserve, that's right around where Mitchell probably is. He's clearly a top 20 guy, top 15, depending on who you ask, but very much outside the top 10. Mitchell won't ever be an elite, versatile defensive player staying just at 6'1". Simply put, bigger players will be able to push through or shoot over him. Furthermore, in Quinn Snyder's team-first pass-happy offensive system, he might never average more than just 5 assists per game. He's an above-average rebounder for his size, but he won't regularly grab double-digit boards with Rudy Gobert on the roster, and he's not really asked to do either way. Though I truly believe there's still plenty of room for him to grow as a 6'1" guard, and all at the young age of 24. His true prime is still on the horizon. So let's get into it and talk about Donovan Mitchell. Where could he improve so he can be the best version of the Spider? I think it's very few things that Donovan Mitchell really needs to improve, but if the first thing, Donovan Mitchell just needs to work on his shooting efficiency. He isn't terrible, and he's been shooting really well this year, for, like I said, in the past 7-game win streak, he's been shooting 51%. But he needs to hold it for the whole season and be able to take his best shots. If his analytics say his best shots are between 3 and 10 feet and the three-point percentage, then those should be the 2 highest shots he should be taking. It's just getting accustomed. And with that being said, is when finding your shot is Donovan Mitchell is an incredible free throw shooter, but Donovan Mitchell doesn't really go to the free throw line. He only goes to the free throw line about 2 or 3 times a game, which is not something you really want for a guy who is able, for a career right now, has been shooting around 86% from the free throw line. And you want him to be going to the free throw line 5 to 8 times a game, where he's getting 10 to 16 points from the charity stripe. Because right there, the charity stripe, free points. That's what you want. And Donovan Mitchell to take his game to the next level, not only looking at analytics and figuring out which areas are the best high percentage shots for him, which are right corner threes, left corner threes, from the right side of the three-point line, shots between 5 and 7 feet or between 3 and 5 feet, figuring out stuff like that, and also getting more to the free throw line to get 6 to 8 free throws a game to be able to generate a lot of points for his team. Because if you look at the top free throw attempts, they're usually players like James Harden, Trae Young, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Anthony Davis, Luka, LeBron James. So it's just getting to the line is something more of an art, and it's not always pretty for the ones who have to watch like James Harden do it, but if Donovan Mitchell could get to there, it just takes his game to another level. And I know people can argue, and there's a huge debate over this, if Mitchell is the point guard or the shooting guard. Obviously, Mike Conley is a true point guard, but when Mitchell in the future, people will argue he should be passing more than 5 assists a game. But like I said earlier, in Quinn Snyder's offense, he's never going to get more than 5 assists, in my belief, just because it's very complex. So I think that's something I can just gloss over and not need to explain. And finally, finishing at the rim. He needs to just work at finishing at the rim, being a better, playing at the rim, attacking, being stronger, because he isn't a great leaper off 1 foot. And he can rise better off 2 feet, but look, he needs to work on those 1-footed jumps. And if he could just be 2020 playoff Mitch at all times, where he was shooting 50-50-90 split with an assist ratio up to 25.6%, would be amazing. But that's pretty much the video for me, guys, today. I want to hear your opinion on Donovan Mitchell. Do you think he could be an MVP? And if so, let me hear why. As always, guys, I do hope you guys have a great day, because I know I will. Tell us, guys, peace out.